Okay, hello fifth graders. I'm here to help you out with an assignment that you have for tonight. We're talking about compound shapes. We took the notes in class today discussing how we find the volume of a shape that has many shapes all together, which we call a compound shape. The number one thing that we need to do, and I'm going to kind of do this in a highlighter here first and then go over with a white marker. But we need to divide these two shapes into one. Now I see that I have a rectangular prism right here, so I'm going to divide it right along here. So I have two separate rectangular prisms. Now my drawing isn't perfect. I'll give you that. But we can see how if I were to divide this and say right along here are my two shapes. So I have shape number one rectangular prism, and then a second one. We can find the areas of shape number one and shape number two and figure out what they are together. In class we used a Bible, a package of clips, and a package of markers, and we stacked them up and we said, now what is the area of them, the volume of them separately, and then what are they added together. So let's find the volume area number one here, the volume of shape number one. This is the first shape here on the right hand side. It doesn't really matter which one's 1 and 2. I just decided this one is shape number 1. Now our formula, we always start out with our formula, which is length times width times height. You should be writing this out in your paper as well. We know that the length for this, length and width are pretty much interchangeable, is 4 units. The width right here is 5 units. And the height is 5 units. I multiply together, and in this case I just did the first two, 4 times 5, which is 20. That's an easy number to multiply by. And 20 times 4 times 5 is 20, times 5 is 100. Don't forget the units here. It's 100 units cubed. Okay? Because we multiplied together units times units times units, so it's units cubed. We're going to talk more about exponential notation and powers and exponents in a little bit here. Number 2, we're going to look at the second shape. We use the same formula, length times width times height, and we see here that the width is 2, the length is 7, and the height is 2. So 2 units times 7 units times 2 units. Now I know that 2 times 7 is 14, times 2 is 28. 28 units cubed. So we have our two measurements. Well, just like we did in class, we add the two together. And 100 plus 28 is 128 units cubed. If I said which box is bigger, you would say the one on the right is, because the volume is 100 units cubed compared to 28 units cubed. Now let's do one more problem. Okay, on the third problem on this page, I already divided the shapes. We had a compound shape and I divided it into 3 separate sections. And on this here, you can see how I have labeled all the measurements. You really wouldn't need to do this because you have it drawn on your page. But I went and wrote the formulas 3 times because I have 3 shapes and I'm going to find the volume of each one. So I see for our first shape, the length and the width are both 6 units. So 6 units times 6 units times 2 units. 6 times 6 is 36 times 2, 72. So 72 units cubed. I'll switch colors so it's easier to see. The second one is 4 units by 4 units times 2 units. We have our length, our width, and our height. And lastly, we should solve it first. 4 times 4 is 16, times 2 is 32 units cubed. And then our last one, I'll use our third color. Our length is 3 units, our width is 3 units, and our height is 2 units. 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18 units cubed. Now I can add these up. 72 plus 32 plus 18. Notice how all my digits are lined up properly. 8 plus 2 plus 2 is 12. And 7 plus 1 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. I kind of ran out of room on the bottom there. 122 units cubed. And that's my answer for this problem. You can see that I found the volume of each one using the formula length times width times height, and I added up each one of these amounts to total 122 units cubed. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.